I hope this is not permanent. It's all small case. Okay, I think I'm 5 minutes late. Good morning, everyone. Is everyone here a teacher? No. So who's not a teacher? Okay, would you mind just sharing your roles, please? I'd like to know who my audience is, and then I can know how to approach it. I was hoping to have students as well, but unfortunately they're volunteering and they had to leave. But yes, can you please share?
So I'm the academic and career counselor for the high school,
Okay.
from year 9 to year 13.
All right.
So we basically look at college applications, academic related issues and stress. At times it gets to their personal issues as well, because we can't find divide in being a social counselor or an academic counselor.
Perfect. Okay. Good. And who else? You're very famous. Okay. You want to go first?
I'm Rachel Williamson, Executive Principal of Rising School Dubai.
Okay.
And I'm a former student many years ago.
You're a former student.
Many, yes.
Okay. Former student of the same school, you mean?
I'm just 45 years old. I used to
Oh, we're all students, aren't we? We're all learning. Everyone is here to learn. We're all students of life. Yes.
I'm the principal's assistant, so involved in everything. That's why I figured out.
Awesome. Good. And who else? I saw some hands. Yes. Social work. Good. Okay. And did you? What? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Myself, Manju Singh, supervisor and innovation champion for Indian High School.
Supervisor and innovation champion. Perfect. And did someone raise their hands here?
He's a teacher.
Okay, so everyone here, you're both teachers.
I have been a teacher. I'm a principal now.
I mean, yes, so you're a principal right now. Okay, so I'll give you a bit about me, my background. I'm a chemical engineer, and my goal is to be a doctor. So whenever I tell my students this, they're like, what are you doing here? Like, how come you're not a doctor yet? And I think it's very inspiring. So my goal is to be a doctor. I want to be a neurosurgeon, a brain surgeon, the guy who opens the brain and not just detects everything happening, but also does the operation. And I find it very cool. So I'm still a student of life and everything else, and we're all students, we're all learning, right? And I am a physics teacher at Universal American School. I teach the IB physics for year 1 and year 2, and I also teach grade 9 integrated science. So today's presentation is not going to be a lot about me. It's going to be more about how we as a group, right, whether you're a teacher or not, how can we as a group collectively make sure that we ensure that our students in Dubai, in UAE in general, they actually graduate having certain types of skills. As a chemical engineer, I know that most of the things that we go to school to study, by the time we graduate, or maybe 2 years down the line, it's outdated. We all know this, right? So when I came into teaching reading or being inspired by Ken Robinson. Everyone who's a teacher might know who Ken Robinson is, right? He's an amazing teacher, educator, whatever you want to call him. He's very inspirational. And his work, I think, has inspired me in the way I approach teaching or education in general. So we know, everyone knows that down the line, most of the learning that we approach our educational system with, the way we teach currently, we know that down the line is not going to be helpful. And I think competitions, right? I think competitions actually provide a solution forward. I was just speaking to some of the kids outside, the girls who were volunteering, and they were super excited to be in this session because they're actually looking forward to having more competition in their school. So I will just be sharing some of those stories and success stories that I've had personally as an educator or a teacher in my school. And I'd also like for some of you to share yours, right? So I'm absolutely sure those of you who have become principals, you have lots of stories. You have many teachers under you who have been doing amazing things. Even if it's within classrooms, most of you have done some things within your classrooms that has inspired students to learn competitively, right? Competition is not a bad thing. We're going to be talking about some of those things. Okay, so how school science competitions would help build 21st century skills. Here's my, not a hypothesis, here is my thesis statement. It's basically, I'm saying we need more science challenges in UAE in order to develop 21st century skills, especially resilience. I come from a school where there is great community. We have one of the alumni over there. Universal American School is a school that has an amazing community. There's a high level of community spirit, right? Everyone feels that they belong. But something that I came into the school realizing that we need more of is we need more competition. But before I go further, I would just like to throw the question, why do you think competition is important? Anyone, just why do you think competition is important?
It helps you to bring out your best in whatever you want to pursue.
Perfect, yes. It helps to bring out the best in whatever you want to pursue.
To learn that winning is not just the target of being into a competition, but just participating, and then defeat is also helpful.
Defeat is helpful, so failure is helpful, perfect, and winning is not the end goal.
That shouldn't be the target always.
But it should be something we strive for, right?
Yes,
Okay.
experience.
Good. Yes, ma'am.
I think just by the nature of preparing for the competition, there are things that goes on within the psyche of the person. Studying the preparation, should I not, just the entire thing that goes on long before they step foot in the halls of competition.
Yes.
They've gone through such an enormous period of growth and development themselves. So that sometimes that's actually missed what's happened to them before they compete.
Very good. So I'm glad about these feedbacks, and I can assure you that by the end of this presentation, we're all going to arrive at the same, I'm sure we all have the same way of seeing those things I'm going to be talking about. But the next goal would be action steps forward. What can we do from here as principals, as educators, as teachers, as counselors, and as social workers? How can we go from the point where in UAE, we focus a lot on well-being, but well-being is defined as happiness, which is a great thing, right? We want community, we want our students to be happy. But how can we get them to develop those 21st century skills that would actually help them when they graduate and go on to universities? They are producers of society. They are not there to consume. We should, if our goal at the end of this is to create students who can actually be engineers and doctors and whatever, I think it's a pointless goal. I think that should not be the goal, to create doctors and engineers. We should create innovators, right? They can do whatever they want to do as long as they're innovative and they're creative and they can actually be producers of society. So that's my goal for today. This is my thesis statement, and I'd like you all to, on the A3 papers you have in front of you, in your groups, if you can just divide this into 4 parts, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a bit of an inclusion activity. We all come from different backgrounds. So on that A3 paper, just get some markers, or you can use your pen if you don't have markers. You can use the pen. No, as a group, each group would have one of these, all right? And I would like you to divide it into 4 different parts, just 4 parts. At UAS, we love doing inclusion activities before we start anything, and we like to make it more collaborative. So now, once you've divided it into 4 parts, right? Draw any 4 different pictures on those 4 parts. Any 4 pictures. As a group, 4 pictures. Anything, yes. Anything you can think of. Oh, just draw any 4 pictures. No need to read the instructions. Any 4 pictures. Yeah. Yeah. Any 4 pictures. It doesn't have to relate to science. It does not have to relate to science. Any 4 pictures. It doesn't have to relate to science, no. Wow, very creative here.
You will not judge us for it.
No, we're all educators. We're learning and we're students as well. I'm the worst when it comes to drawing, so.
What do you think this is?
I'm not sure if it's
It looks like a bulb to me.
it looks like a bulb to me, but then when you had that stuff on the,
The coil.
yeah, that's the what? Coil, okay. Oh, this is some physics stuff now. That somebody has. What's the fourth one? Empty space? Oh, this is car. A car? So the person is growing, is that what you mean? Okay, so once you're done with the 4 pictures, the next thing I want you to do is, we all like metaphors, right? We know what a metaphor is, right? Metaphor is something you use to compare 2 different things without using like or as, right? So try to come up with a metaphor using that picture and connecting that metaphor to science competitions. Should I read the instruction again? So on those pictures you've drawn, you think as a group, that picture, so somebody has drawn flowers here. So use those flowers. How would you connect, using a metaphor, how would you connect flowers to science competitions? Try to be creative. Come up with a metaphor.
Connect all 4 of them?
No, each of them. Each of them. Do you get it, sir? Do you understand the instruction? You come up with a metaphor to connect your picture to science competition. Yes. Does that make sense? Yeah, you have to write it. Write it. Yeah, for each of them, yes.
For each one.
Yeah. And we can take 5 minutes, yeah.
We have to give this picture a name,
You
scientific competition, right?
you don't have to give it a name, but yes, you have to connect to science competition, yes.
Science competition.
Yes. Each picture, yeah. We'll do this in 5 minutes and then we can share. Is anybody able to come up with one? Still thinking? Good. That's the goal. Okay,
The educator that you mentioned at the beginning of the session,
Ken Robinson. He has several books, Elements. He has Creative Schools. He has a very nice TED Talk as well.
Did you get Ken after him?
Ken?
Ken Matthew?
I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure. Okay, so can we get some groups to share, or do we need more time? You guys are done, seems, right? So can we get at least 2 groups to share? Just one representative from each group, from 2 groups to share. Do you guys want to go?
So we actually didn't work on a metaphor there. Our picture needs to be looked from both the sides, one from their side. So they said STEM or robotics with the car. Living things, tree became living things, basically very deep emotion based. So there's a tree that she was trying to draw, then became a living being. So getting connected.
Became a person.
The stick person became a tree.
Yeah.
So this is sun with renewable energy and to shine up. And coming to the last one, that's apparently supposed to be a bulb. Enlighten your life, basically innovation and thinking of creative ideas.
So enlighten your life, right? Okay, very good. Another group? Yes.
So we had different pictures, and the flowers, we said that this would help us to bloom in our character, developing your character, your presentation skills, the way that you look, the colour, how you present yourself, the aesthetic nature. And then the clock that I had, we've just kind of likened it to like time management, keeping to deadlines, building productivity. And then the books and the laptops and everything, we're just, competitions we think, they build research skills, resourcefulness, decision making, and critical thinking. And then this one, Miss had drawn she'd drawn a sun and like a book and stuff. So we said, well, that, you're not confined in a competition to the classroom. So it's like you're thinking out of the box, you're not confined to a single place, you could take it anywhere. Let your imagination go wild.
Perfect. So, do you guys have something to share? Just one of the pictures.
We sort of actually need to 4 pictures over here, one with a beaker which is usually used in laboratories. And there's a smiling face, a guy who's very happy about himself and the people around him.
And how does it tie to science?
They're related, science.
Okay.
Science brings happiness. Science makes things easier.
Very
Science
good.
makes life so much more comfortable.
Yes, I love that. It's the connection we need, though, right?
So then we have ultimately everything leading to
A happy world.
the planet. Ultimately, science will have to kind of, just as it is making our life much more easier and comfortable, it should also lead us with research and lead us with innovations that will help preserve our planet.
Perfect. Very good. Thank you very much. So you want to clap for them? Yes. Very good job. Thank you, everyone. So I think inclusion activities are a great way for us to develop community. Inclusion activities get us to really think and make sure we tie our topic to what we're doing today. I'll give you some examples of competitions, of how I've used competitions in my classroom, personally. And I think I'll say more of how I've used it to encourage classroom engagement, right? So here is one example, and this wasn't developed by me. I can't take credit for this. By one of our teachers who's collaborating with me in a grade 9 science class. And she found this resource, and this resource is an activity on atomic structure, right? So the kids, they've been learning about protons and neutrons and electrons and all these things and blah, 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 many things, right? And in this competition, they had several puzzles. They had about 10 pieces of puzzles, and they were supposed to solve each puzzle step by step, right? It was all integrated with technology, it was paperwork, it was lots of things. So they finished the first puzzle, they get codes from the puzzle, they enter these codes into a Google form, right? A Google form, and once it's in, if it's wrong, it doesn't let them go through. If they're right, they're able to go to the next stage, and they have an hour to finish the puzzle. Right? They had an hour to finish this puzzle, and the kids were so excited, right? Divided into different groups, you were looking at how they were actually racing to be the first to finish. Right? It was amazing. For me, I remember leaving this competition, it was on a Thursday, and I went back home, and I was super happy. Now let me explain to you some of the kids I have here. Gabriel, I don't have a pointer, but Gabriel is one of my students, and Gabriel is usually, he prefers to be a hands-on person. Gabriel doesn't like taking notes. Gabriel he doesn't listen. He doesn't know how to sit still. Gabriel needs to move. If he's not moving, he's not learning. He's on a basketball team. Gabriel doesn't like science that much, but during this competition, or during this classroom activity, Gabriel was one of the leaders of the competitions, right? So this is an example of how science competitions actually brings out something that you never knew about your kid. And I was just there taking notes, making observations about my kids, right? And this is another example. This is Mahmoud. Mahmoud is another student who's usually bored during science classes, right? No matter what you do to engage him, Mahmoud brings his football with him inside class. If it's not football or basketball, Mahmoud is switched off, right? But during the competition, everyone has to work, because it wasn't only about protons and neutrons, it was really about solving the problem, right? So everybody loves to solve problems. Everybody wants to figure out how to solve a problem. But this was a good opportunity for them to actually learn while they were solving the problem. Because during the competition, they were actually learning those things that they were not able to learn during classroom activities. The battery for this is going to go off soon. Can I get the charger, please? Thank you. Okay, so here's another example. My physics class. In my physics class, when I had to teach about momentum, right? Momentum is an object with a mass that is moving with a velocity, has momentum, right? The first thing we had to do was we had to go outside and do some balloon throwing exercises, Right? The kids were highly engaged, super happy, and they actually were the ones who came up with the factors that would affect an object with momentum. Thank you, battery's gone. Okay, so another example, the other example you saw right there was an example of the egg drop experiment or egg drop activity. How many of you know this activity? Right? Everyone, if you go to any team building activity, this is all usually what they will do. Now, what's the connection to physics? In physics, we talk about potential energy, kinetic energy, we talk about impulse and all these things. But this was an example of a situation where the kids were actually building. The first benefit of it was the teamwork, right? The teamwork that they actually learned from the building process. The teamwork they learned from the building process, that's number one. And the second thing was that they were the ones able to tell me the fact, they were now learning themselves. So part of the goal we have in our school, and I think in 21st century learning, is the teacher should step out of the way of the students in their learning process. We are not there to teach, we're there to guide them towards the learning process. Does that make sense? Any sense? Right, so we are facilitators of learning, we are not teachers anymore. We're all learners, we're all students, we're all learning. Our goal in our current journey of teaching is not that we are giving them knowledge, we are showing them how to find knowledge. And I spent the first 2 weeks of my class trying to rewire my students' mentality about this. Because all they want to see is they want a teacher to sit down and teach. And I told them I can't do that. Because if I do that, they will always be looking for me for knowledge, looking to me for knowledge, but I want them to be seekers of knowledge. Why is this important? Because now we have the internet. Everything is online. Everything that they need is available for them. So they need to be the ones being able to seek knowledge. What is the benefit of this? In that journey of seeking knowledge, they might make mistakes, but along that journey, there's also many things that they build with them, many other skills that they learn. I'll just move on with the presentation. Sorry, guys. Let's go back to the same place. Okay. Okay, so the next thing I have on my slide is, on your tables, I'd like you to spend the next 5 minutes. That's why I love presentations that involve more doing. 5 minutes within your groups again, and think of ways in your classroom or in your school or in your place of work that you've actually tried to use or you've encouraged competition as a way of learning. What are some things you've done, some experiences you've done that you think it will be important to share with everyone? Please take the next 5 minutes to discuss this with your partner, with your pair. Thank you. Is it charging now? Do you understand the question? So, oh, good. Are you in the same school? Okay, good.
We were in same 15 years.
That's good. All right, let's have 1 more minute. You're learning, that's good. All right. Okay. Can we time out in 5 seconds? Thank you, guys. So can we get two groups? Can we get two groups to share, please? Like, give us some examples of competitions and how you've encouraged your students to, work through competitions or learn through competitions, and what were the benefits you actually saw. Who's willing to volunteer? Yes.
Okay. One of the very common competition that we conduct, specifically related to developing the 21st century skills of creativity, collaboration, communication, and all that stuff, it is using the science experiments itself. Whatever topics that they are doing in physics, chemistry, or biology, mainly in physics and chemistry, hands-on, the topics related to whatever they are learning, there will be some competition organized by the teacher himself. The students are going to be divided into groups, some real challenges given to them, and they will come at the end of they have to find a solution to that challenge using the science material that
they've been given.
They've been given and things like that.
So problem-based learning.
Science exhibition.
Right.
If you see the best.
Yeah, that's also an innovation.
So
Science exhibition.
problem-based learning, science exhibitions. What else? In classroom.
Read aloud also in the class. How you present your project, how you present your work, also involves a lot of skills in that.
Absolutely. So we're learning presentation skills. We're learning research skills. We're learning how to make use of the limited resources we have. We're learning collaboration. We're learning the scientific process, not just because you're told, oh, here's the scientific process, but they are actually putting it to a test, right? Every single time they're learning. That's amazing. What else?
If you see, you can find a competition in peer assessment as well.
Peer assessment. Absolutely. This is
The checklist, you prepare your own checklist of the same project, I will prepare my own checklist of the same project.
right.
Let us see which checklist and which rubrics weighs more the actual content of
And this is one of the best ways of giving formative feedback, right? When the peers actually assess themselves. So
There is another set criteria, so there's not always a right answer, which I think really helps, for the special needs children.
yes,
Yeah, like I said, I did a science fair. We have actually got a child who normally is very disengaged, very badly behaved. But in that time, the amount of hard work that he was putting in, we were amazed. Because he was working extra, not just the fact that it was a competition.
right.
He ended up winning as in his group won because of their team spirit, their rapport and the way they presented it.
Perfect. And I think, so we all have stories, right? We definitely all have stories. But my question again would remain, as a teacher in the field of physics or in science, why aren't there many competitions in Dubai, where we as a group are all bringing our students to compete with each other, right? And I'll be sharing some stories, or one specific story. So right now, I wish we have enough time, but within your groups you have post-its. I will limit the number of time that we're given for this activity, but within your groups, I want you to come up with at least 3 different 21st century skills, all right? Write them as a group, 21st century skills. Agree on your top 3, write them on your post-it notes, and then I'll tell you what to do next. Do you have post-it notes? Do you have post-it? As a group, yes. What are your top 3? 21st century skills. What are the top 3 21st century skills that you think your students should learn? I'm adapting it right now, so. I'm top 3 done? Okay. Top 3? Everyone's done with top 3? Okay, so now there is a website. Go to menti.com on your phone, one representative from each group, just one person per group. Go to menti.com, and I would like you to write down, if you had come up with more within your groups, you can write down 5. I've made it 5. I've put in 5 different boxes, but I'd like you to write down the 3 of them that you came up with within your groups. Is the instruction clear enough? So go to menti.com. I'm just gonna put this on the... The code is 388948. 388948. 948. This is going to be a fail. Yeah, so I need this to display. Are you guys done? You entered the top 5? Yes. I'm just trying to log into my account. Yes, that's actually part of the goal. You can get instant feedback in class. You're supposed to see a word cloud. It's a very great way to get formative feedback. Chris Mola. Okay, if I was using my MacBook, I would just, maybe I'd just go straight to, okay, this is a fail. If everyone has entered it, then I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. Right, so, sorry, I can't, but this is what you're supposed to get. So, if this was done properly on the screen, if I had the connection to this on the screen, communication seems to be the one that everyone agrees on the most, right? Oh, you have it. Excellent. So you had the result already. I think everyone can see the result somewhat. All right? So communication, critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration. These were the top 4. Which one else stands out? So problem solving seems to be written in different ways, but problem solving, communication, critical thinking, collaboration. These are the top 4, I would say, top 4 creativity, top 5 skills that everyone comes up with. So if we know that these are the top 5 21st century skills, and by the way, the research is very clear, that these are the top 5, most of what you guys have already said, these are the things employees or employers are looking for in their students or in their graduates, in the people that they want to hire, right? So why do we spend all our time emphasizing on everything else, on the content, when all of those skills are there that they should be learning? So what I want us to do in the next few minutes, in the last few minutes we have, I have about 5 minutes, is, where's this? So whatever I've just shown you, that's a great resource that you guys can use. Mentimeter, there are many forms. You can generate a word cloud, you can generate bar graphs, once you log in to Mentimeter, you have different presentations you can set up. They give you a code, and you can generate instant feedback Your kids can give feedback on whether they understand something or not without you knowing who's giving it, right? You can know that, okay, 10% of my kids understand this content, 50% do not understand it, things like that. Okay, so I just want to give an example of a competition that I took my students to in Abu Dhabi, the nuclear science competition. This happened in Abu Dhabi, I think last year, so end of last year. And I had 4 kids from my physics class, my IB grade 12 students, and they've never been to a competition outside. They went to Abu Dhabi. We went to the nuclear power plant, Barakah nuclear power plant in Abu Dhabi. It was a very long drive. Barakah nuclear power plant was 6 hours journey going, 6 hours journey coming back, right? So we all went as a group, but they had so much fun. First of all, it was a great bonding session between me, the teacher, and them, the students. Right? We were on the bus together, talking about everything, eating anything, just thinking about exams, and you no longer just a teacher, you become a friend, right? So that's number one. Number two, they actually got a chance to see the nuclear power plant. For them, it was inspiring. So that's number one. That's the first part. It didn't end there. They went for the competition. They were winners in the category that they participated in, which was great motivation for them, great self-esteem, and they got a trip to go to Vienna. In Vienna, they got a free trip to go to Vienna. They attended the International Atomic Energy Agency conference, right? And this conference was hosted by, it's always held every year, but you have ministers, you have presidents, you have people, top government officials attending competitions meetings like this. And our kids got a chance to meet these people one-on-one. And they were actually surprised to know that these are normal people. I know they see them on TV, but they were surprised to realize that these are normal people. So this was an example. When the kids came back to class, they visited labs and all that. When they came back to school, they were different people, right? I could see the difference in them. Not only that, they became a source of inspiration to the rest of their friends. So my goal of this meeting, of coming here to present, is to share with you some of the success stories. But not only that, our call, what is the action forward? Right? You can give your feedback after this, but for me, what is more important is, I think in Dubai or in UAE, when we talk about well-being, we don't have enough competitions. I think competitions are very limited. If you go to the US or to Canada, there are tons of competitions. It doesn't have to be think science. It doesn't have to be a big skill competition. It could be a small skill competition that's within our schools, right? How can we generate competitions that we do within our schools, within our students, that they get to meet your students and collaborate and learn all those skills that are important. So that is my goal of this presentation, is our call to action, right? So we all know, you guys collectively came up with the benefits of competitions, right? We all know there are benefits to it. We all know the skills it develops. But right now, how do we get all of these things done? We need more collaboration. We have principals sitting here, we have counselors, we have social workers, we have all of you guys from different backgrounds. We can work together to make sure that our students are learning competitively, because it brings out the best in them, because it brings out, they're not settling for just community and mediocrity, but they actually put it to work. They put what they learn to work. Thank you very much for listening to the presentation. I hope you all enjoyed and learned some resources at least, and I hope that we can together inspire our kids to learn, because that's my goal. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. I hope I was on time, right? We have 1 minute to spare.